Well, good morning. On behalf of CMU's faculty, staff, and students, it's a great pleasure for me to welcome you into this renovated space this morning. My name is Terry Schellenberg. I serve CMU as Vice President External. And I want to begin by acknowledging before Creator that we live and we work and we study in places like this on Treaty 1 territory, homeland of the Métis Nation, and that we in Winnipeg benefit daily from Treaty 3 water. CMU is deeply grateful for a growing circle of friendships with Indigenous peoples, for our shared commitments to reconciliation. It wasn't that long ago that this fourth floor space was an overflowing jumble of storage. And I see lots of nods there already for those of you that remember that. And in the past 18 months, it has been completely transformed. Within this renovated space, with some of our furniture readjusted this morning to accommodate this gathering, this center marks a really important initiative that opens CMU and our students to community partnerships and with diverse social enterprises. So we're thrilled that you've gathered with us to launch and open this center this morning. Among us this morning, I do want to acknowledge the Honourable Heather Stephenson, Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Province of Manitoba. Welcome here, Heather. I also want to acknowledge Mr. Martin Lucier, Executive Assistant to the Honourable Jim Carr, Minister of Natural Resources, Member of Parliament for Winnipeg South Centre, who this morning passed along his regrets that he could not join us this morning. Allow me to introduce a number of persons who will speak briefly. To begin, Dr. Cheryl Paul, CMU President, and James Magnus Johnston, Director of the Centre for Resilience and CMU Instructor for Social Entrepreneurship, both of whom will set a context for the vision and the collaboration that this space will embody. They will be followed in order by two honoured guests, Dr. Doug Yolfson, Liberal Member of Parliament for Charleswood, St. James, Assiniboia, and Headingley, and the Honourable Ian Wishart, Minister of Education and Training, a Member of Legislative Assembly, representing Portage La Prairie. Thank you both for being here this morning. Please, Cheryl.
Distinguished guests, students, alumni, board, church community, faculty, staff, and friends of Canadian Mennonite University. With joy, we are gathered to celebrate the CMU Centre for Resilience. This spectacular fourth floor is a gift, and it bears witness to exceptional construction goods, generosity, vision, a restorative imagination, fine craft, to name a few. These goods are embedded in the very fabrics of the place. They're also alive in the character of the people here today and will extend through the work of the Centre for decades to come. In our age, a compelling yet unusual blend emerges with the word resilience. It sits in the midst, the messy middle of patience and urgency, resistance and inventiveness, stewardship and innovation. Resilience expresses the capacity of social and ecological entities to absorb disturbance, undergo change, reorganize, and reemerge in new forms of flourishing without giving up the ghost or the soul of where they're coming from. Today, as our attention to resilience moves from restoring the fourth floor to restorative activity taking root through the centre, we pause to say thank you. Here then, three forms of gratitude. Firstly, on finances. The total cost of restoration and construction has been $1.8 million. To this, the Government of Canada has generously contributed $745,906, and the Province of Manitoba, $418,504. Let's pause here and say thank you together to the Post-Secondary Institutions Strategic Investment Fund, supported by both the Government of Canada and the Province of Manitoba. please pass on our thanks to the Prime Minister, the Premier, and your governing colleagues. Your partnership with us demonstrates a bold vision for diverse hubs of thinking and acting for the sake of societal flourishing broadly. And we look forward to sharing with you in the beneficial outcomes this centre will encourage and increase. That is the continuous renewal of the abundant gifts with which the earth is filled, and how we, human creatures, steward these gifts. CMU then has contributed about $680,000 towards this construction and restoration. Over a 15 to 20-year span, this balance will be paid through partnering social enterprises that take up tenancy in the space. That's a long time because we wanted to make the rents doable for lots of places. Each of these entities has a mandate towards ecological and economic well-being. Collectively, they form a generative hub of innovation and agency. We'll hear about some of them from the director of the Centre for Resilience shortly. The construction cost will not be passed on at all to our students or to generous donors of CMU. We need your investment in enough other places. Secondly, a thank you to those who worked at the construction and restoration. And I'll name some of the businesses that worked towards this. Firstly, the architectural design, Agar Little Architects, and I believe Gail Little and Evan Jamieson. Evan, I think, did most of the architectural work, are here with us today. So thank you and welcome. Secondly, construction, and this is Concord Construction, and I believe Pierre Laurent was to be here today. Pierre, do I see you back there somewhere? Thank you to Concord Construction. Thirdly, Epp Seaman Mechanical Engineering, and I know that David Epp and Jacob Patakara are here with us today as well, so thanks to you. Crozier Kilger did the structural and building envelope engineering, and Haney Luca, I believe, may be here, so also Crozier Kilger. And a whole number of sub-trades, including MJ Roofing and Al Schrader Construction for lots of the woodwork, and Ellis and Dan and a few others along with Al are here with us today. We'll meet them later, but thanks to. And lastly, CMU Project Manager, Rob Fraze, for his great work. Rob. Now, the commitment to resilience is more than the idea and the work that'll happen in the place, but also in the construction. What you do is you take the top floor of a provincially designated heritage building, and you begin by removing some of the beautiful wasp nests and the not so beautiful webs of old wiring, and you clean up that mess and bring it to code so that it's here for good use, and also set some new standards for material restoration and carbon reduction. This is included in the building envelope, the roof and so on, the kind of wood and window work that's gone on, heating and cooling envelope, lighting, which is occupancy controlled, design, maximum use of space, yet it's still a spacious feel, working with local businesses and so on. Now, before this place was a mess, this was actually, since the 1922 completion of this building, mostly dormitories over the years for students of the School for the Deaf and also the normal school, that is teacher training. Except during a short time in the 1940s during World War II, when this space was part of what was used here for training wireless air gunners. A few interesting details on the construction and restoration here. The wood baseboards, which you'll see are 11 inches high, these all needed to be carefully removed from the walls before demolition. Many layers of paint were removed on these and also all the windowsills and so on. We have no idea what people were thinking in the era when they painted all of these fine wood, this fine fur. In any case, with the baseboards, about 55% of them have been restored and are original, and 45% manufactured locally to match the original. Of the wood window casing, sills, and trims, about 70% are original and 30% made to match. You'll notice in some of these stress marks and scars from the past. We've chosen to leave them there, for they tell a story. You'll see grooves, which were from pulling up supplies from some sort of rope system, some sort of pulley system. And if you got pictures of all that, we want to keep those around too. In terms of the windows, there are 52 window openings on this floor. Each one has 2 sashes, one interior and one exterior, so 104 wood sashes in total. 40 of the exterior sashes were beyond repair, but about 200 glass panes could be salvaged from these rotten exterior sashes before the worst ones were thrown away. Many of the glass panes were reused in the repairs of other sashes. The needed 40 exterior sashes were made by repurposing 40 interior sashes that hadn't had the same weather exposure. So in all, there's a huge restoration story there. Now, a few details of what happened. Because we wanted to keep all of the exterior ones to have original wood, we took some of the interior ones and put them outside so that all of the outside ones are original, whether it was original exterior or original interior. Also, the brass has been cleaned and to its beautiful brass state, and we just had to buy a little bit of hardware that would match the original. Now, in the interior, we were then able to find a way to preserve the heritage conditions and yet at the same time have dual pane sealed units in the interior units with low E-coating and argon gas fill to maximize their performance. And certainly then this blend of old and new brings forward a level of beauty and at the same time a level of efficiency not before possible on these old windows or in this building. This same process we plan to replicate with all the windows in this building as time goes on. The window repairs have been done in consultation with the Historical Resources Branch here in Winnipeg. You'll notice countertops here sourced locally from some of the Hutterite communities with Manitoba elm. Also, some details on the exterior walls and roof system. MJ Roofing did this work in similar ways to the successful project just down the street that they were also involved in the pavilion at the Assiniboine Park. There's spray foam insulation applied to the underside of the sloped roof throughout this floor and in all the wood wall cavities. The new roof has been insulated with an R value of around R48, way up for this old building. The 12 small dormer roofs have been rebuilt with copper to match the original for look and performance. And the copper flashings and trims match existing building techniques. Many, many more details that you'll want to talk with Rob about as when we move into reception time here. So thanks to all for this amazing work in restoration and construction. And thirdly, thanks to all who have contributed and continue to the heart of the goings-on through CMU. The Centre will connect directly with undergraduate and graduate programs from biology to business to the arts and humanities to what we called social and economic development back in the 80s and termed social innovation, social entrepreneurship, and collaborative development today. CMU has introduced a concentration in social entrepreneurship within the BBA, that is the Bachelor's in Business Administration, and also that's possible within the BA program. The MA in Peace Building and Collaborative Development also connects in with this particular initiative. These programs, though, are but emblems of links that extend into all courses of study through CMU. We'll also say that CMU's practicum program will link very significantly to the work of this centre. Every undergraduate student at CMU does a practicum, which in itself is a resilience story. You take a commitment to service and to thinking and doing that goes way back and find ways that these dimensions can be retained in today's call for work-integrated learning and experience. In the long view of friendship across voluntary communities, governing bodies, host peoples, migrating and settler peoples, CMU honors the gift of this centre. And as a university nestled between treasures of urban forest and city park and impulsed in the Anabaptist faith tradition, we look forward to sharing broadly in the quality of social enterprise, stewardship, and collective resilience that extends through this work. I'm most pleased that James Magnus Johnston is director of the Center for Resilience as a CMU staff and faculty member. James is an entrepreneur at the crux of business, economic, ecological, academic, political, community, cultural, spiritual, and performing arts communities. This mix rings true for students in the classroom and is shaping the center beautifully. James will come and speak in a moment, but he begins with a song. Together with carpenters by day and minstrels by night, who worked on restoring the wood casings and baseboards, Al Schrader and Dan Peasgood, and executive coordinator in the academic office, Greg Weep. Yes, please come. And yes, singing is a vital aspect of a world of enough and towards plenty of livelihood and vocation for all. Here then, after the gold rush, we all ought to dream, drum, and sing of planting Mother Nature's silver seed, a new home in the sun. Thank you.
Well, I dreamed I saw the knights in armor coming, saying something about a queen. There were peasants singing and drummers drumming, and the archers split the trees. There was a fanfare blowing to the sun that was floating on the breeze. Look at Mother Nature on the run in the 21st century. I was lying in a burned-out basement with a full moon in my eyes. I was hoping for replacement when the sun burst through the sky. There was a band playing in the land, and I felt like flying high, thinking about what a friend had said. I was hoping it was a lie. Well, I dreamed I saw the silver spaceships fly through the yellow haze of the sun. There were children crying and banners flying all around the chosen one. All in a dream, all in a dream. The planning had begun. Planting Mother Nature's silver seed for a new home in the sun. Planting Mother Nature's silver seed for a new home in the sun.
That would be the Center for Resilience Glee Club. And I actually am a little surprised, Cheryl. I actually thought it always was a CMU job requirement to sing, to be a singer. But anyway, it's fine. I'm excited to be taking part in the design and animation of this project, and have been excited over the course of the last year. The Centre for Resilience was designed to be a co-working facility for social entrepreneurs, and by that, as Cheryl mentioned, we're referring to businesses, community organizations, and hybrids thereof interested in tackling social and ecological challenges. After all, it's in working at those challenges that we can build a more resilient world if we think of resilience as strengthening a system in the face of a challenge. In the design of this space, we offer, as you can see, a pretty modern and we hope healthy work environment, including sit-stand desks, a variety of high-focus work environments, and some unique meeting and gathering spaces. Joining us today as well are a sampling of the residents and prospective residents of the Centre, including Low Environmental Impact Technologies, Kevin here, Blossom's Home Care, I see a variety of over there, Compost Winnipeg, Sweet Home Shipping Container Suites, and Gardens Manitoba, and not present at this moment is Arasha Canada. So I suppose we should welcome you with a round of applause. Now, these are just a few of the organizations we've been in conversation with who are interested in partnering with us here, not just because this is a beautiful space to work, but also because they're interested in maximizing their social impact through the work of our students, I should say, who are excited at the prospect of taking some of the theoretical knowledge that they've accumulated and making their learning count in the real world. For the animation of this center, we've developed a problem-based learning course called the Social Innovation Lab, because a lab is where you test ideas. And in this course, the center here becomes the classroom, and a transdisciplinary team of students, whether from music, theology, international development, peace and conflict, psychology, or mathematics, will all work together to solve real-world problems posed to those students by a resident or non-resident entrepreneur. This course is a capstone in our new Bachelor of Business Administration major in social entrepreneurship, which debuts next year. Now, this part of the development process is the beginning of what we hope will become a two-part project. CMU has allocated a portion of our campus grounds in the west parcel there to develop an outdoor learning commons that would complement the work up here, as well as the work of our existing resident farmers, the Metanoia Farmers Cooperative. In the second phase of this project, CMU is working to facilitate the construction of 2 passive solar greenhouses, courtesy of Gardens Manitoba, a state-of-the-art composting facility, courtesy of Compost Winnipeg, a program of the Green Action Centre, featuring an in-vessel composter powered by solar energy, as well as an outdoor classroom and permacultural garden. The coordination of these activities will serve to enrich our students and assist startups and initiatives that build community resilience. With that, I will thank you for being here today on this wintry Friday, the 13th of April. I should say that I've been informed that an irrational fear of 13 is termed triskaidekaphobia. So please don't be triskaidekaphobic and do come back. We look forward to sharing news in the months and weeks ahead. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. I'm Doug Ailfson, a Member of Parliament for Charleswood, St. James, Assiniboia, Headingley. Thank you for inviting me here today. I'd like to also acknowledge the Honourable Ian Wishart and Minister Stephenson, Dr. Pauls, and any other VIPs I've missed. Thank you for being here. I'd also like to thank the organizers of the Canadian and Mennonite University for hosting us and making everything that occurred today here possible. I'd like to thank you for acknowledging we are on Treaty 1 land and home of the Métis people. So I'm delighted to be here today to celebrate the launch of the Centre for Environmental and Economic Resilience. Innovation starts with creativity, resourcefulness, and the drive of Canadians. Research has been a big part of my life. In the 1980s, I spent 5 years performing basic science research in cardiovascular sciences at the Faculty of Medicine. Additionally, I spent part of my residency doing research on human responses to hypothermia at the Faculty of Physical Education. Among other things, I learned I can sit in a bath of ice water for 4.5 hours. Okay. So at its most basic, research and innovation are about making things better in ways that benefit everyone. And this is why our government has put forward an innovation and skills plan that will equip Canadians with the skills to adapt to a changing job market and prepare for jobs of the future. The goal is to create well-paying jobs for the middle class and those working hard to join it. And the good news is that Canada already has the building blocks for an economy driven by innovation. Our workforce is one of the most educated and highly skilled in the world. Our researchers are world leaders in turning their work into discoveries and inventions. And Canada has an enviable rate of entrepreneurs who start their own businesses. But we also need to invest in our future if we are to create the right conditions for innovation. That's why our government has invested $2 billion under the Post-Secondary Institutions Strategic Investment Fund to renew university and college campuses across the country. That included working with the province of Manitoba to invest $1.7 million to renovate what was previously unused space here at the Canadian Mennonite University to create the Centre for Environmental and Economic Resilience. This centre will support the university's research capabilities and provide incubator facilities to bridge research with community-based industry partners committed to moving to a green economy. The centre will be both an incubation space for partnering social enterprises and a distinct program that coordinates these activities. The centre's discoveries will plant the seeds for the next generation of innovators and will help make Canada a world leader in turning ideas into solutions, science and technologies, skills into jobs, and startup companies into global successes. And for that, I could not be more proud. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Ian Wishart, the Minister of Education and Training, and it is my pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of the province of Manitoba and my colleagues at the Manitoba Legislature. And I'm honored to join you here this morning to celebrate the grand opening of the new state-of-the-art facility. I know I was also had the pleasure of coming to make the announcement, and they told me they had a challenge ahead of them when I came to redeveloping this area up here, and I had a moment or two to look at some of the construction photos, and you understated that. It was certainly a challenge, but I really must say, I mean, the resulting space is absolutely wonderful, and the respect for the old traditions and the old facilities here. You know, you often hear people say, well, there's no workmanship like available today like was there in the old days. And this is living proof that there is still people that can do that quality of workmanship and preserve the old and develop the new and bring everything up to a standard that I think that we all want to achieve when it comes to energy efficiency and design. I also like to take a moment to acknowledge that we're on traditional territory of Treaty 1 and in the homeland of the Métis Nation. And I particularly wanted to thank President Pauls, Vice President Schellenberg, Mr. Magnus Johnston, and Dr. Olofsson, and everyone else that was involved actually in developing this. And I want to take a moment to recognize my colleague, Heather Stephenson, who represents this fine constituency, and make sure that your voice is heard in the Manitoba Legislature. And I know that we all look to her for her leadership qualities and appreciate having her there. And I know she doesn't hear that anywhere near often enough. So thank you very much. Through our funding commitments from the province of Manitoba, the government of Canada, and CMU, this centre will advance environmental innovation in our province, something I think that we're all very interested in seeing achieving. With the rapid advancements in environmental science and the building material changes that are coming in, the technology and the engineering, Manitoba students need an opportunity to succeed in those fields, and I think that we're going to see that. Further, we're also going to see some economic opportunities, not-for-profit opportunities in this community and use this space. And that is something that I think all Manitobans will benefit from. So I think it's a very, very valuable step forward with the greener economy that we're all hoping to put in place here in Manitoba. So thank you very much for coming this morning. It's been a pleasure to join you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl, James, Dr. Olofsson, Minister Wishart. Really grateful for your comments. At this time, I'm going to invite our four speakers, alongside Honourable Minister of Justice, Heather Stephenson, to move to the ribbon. And we're going to do it this way. They are going to move on the far side facing me. And so if you'd like a picture, you should come on over here. Feel free to fill in this area. Feel free to stay behind them. And once that formal part of the program is completed, you are invited to explore the space, talk to James and other staff about the center, and at the far end, there are refreshments provided for you. So please enjoy those, and thank you again for coming this morning.
Sorry.